Superbug. Welcome back everyone to another NRG. This time we're on the Atari ST. Nice little loading screen that, nice animated loading screen. I like to see animated loading screens sometimes. This is 1943, the Battle of Midway, originally by Capcom in 1987. This is the Atari ST port, released by Go in 1988. And what have I got to say about this port? Well, it's playable, I guess, but it does have several things that I don't consider it one of the best ports of this game. I mean, a lot of people consider 1943 to be a bit of a mediocre arcade in the first place. Personally, it's one of my all-time favourite shoot-'em-up, sort of classic vertical shooters of the day. But this version is decent enough. It's got the theme music that plays continuously throughout, very reminiscent of the Amstrad version, which is no surprise considering that the ST and the Amstrad share the same music chip, the AY chip. Here we go, there's a little wave of enemies here, a little boss character there, well, mini boss, should I say. So very reminiscent of the arcade, and the waves are very same, the sprites are the same. But what is it lacking? Well, I think apart from that, it does scroll very well. I mean, I've got to give it, it scrolls very well, it moves very well. It's yeah, the sprites move very quickly. I've got to admit, so does the main player sprite as well. All good. Got me spread fire. It contains all the firepower upgrades that the original arcade have as well. Power up, fuel, extra fuel for your energy bar. You just collected there. So that's good. Smart bomb, which is very undermining. I'll try that later on, and it doesn't really do anything. The screen just sort of flashes. It's a really poorly executed smart bomb. Pretty dull, in fact. And the other thing that kind of annoys me is when you're shooting sort of like, say, some of the bigger sprites and certainly some of the bosses. And here we go, here's one of the bosses right now. There's no sort of point of impact of where your shot is hitting. There's, you know, normally be an audible signal or a visual signal to indicate that you're hitting the right mark, but there's nothing in this, so you're kind of shooting away hoping that you're hitting the right target. Eventually, of course, you kind of do realise what you have to hit. I mean, for instance, you're shooting the engines and the turrets of the big fighter bomber here, or the big bomber, should we say. Very undermining explosion as well. I think the explosions in general throughout this game are quite minimal, to be honest. They could be a lot more impressive. I think they're quite tinny, really. I mean, you see a lot more explosive stuff even on the Spectrum version, in my view. And also the sea, very distracting. The sea is extremely bland. It's got that sort of off blue colour, which is kind of really distracting on the eyes. And it has this kind of ripple effect on it that they put, which obviously emulating the sea kind of thing, but it's a repeated pattern. And it kind of sort of makes your eyes go a bit fuzzy, focusing it all the time with so lack of everything else going on. There's the odd cloud here and there, the odd landmass here and there, but there's very, very limited background graphics on this. There we go, I've got me super shell firepower now. That's a very fast firepower, but it's only one. It's very powerful as well. You can destroy boss enemies with that. You also can't seem to loop. That's what I've noticed as well, because yeah, in the original game, 1942 and 1943, you could loop the P38 Lightning. It's a P38 Lightning, isn't it? That's right, yeah. Twin turbo prop. And it would do a loop around, and you can't. I can't work out how to do that on the ST. Doesn't seem to be a way to do it. I don't think. Oh, I've lost a life. Yeah, I can't seem to work that out. So anyway, so yeah, that's missing. Don't like that. So the blandness of the background graphics is kind of irritating. And it's a bit headache inducing if you play this continuously, because the sea just yeah, really sort of puts a strain on the eyes. Odd tiny little land masses like that, and that just add nothing to it. It needs a little bit more, I think. From memory, the original had more. The other thing I don't like about it as well is that the shot is the control over your shot is extremely sluggish. It feels very sluggish. It feels very like a lot of the time it's not doing what you want it to do half the time. Your movement is fine. Movement, it could be a tad sluggish, a tad maybe over responsive in a way. But the shots it feels so sluggish indeed. Sometimes you're hammering a button and nothing really happens. Sometimes you're not even pressing the button and things are happening. Yeah, there is an option for auto fire in this. You can get power up for auto fire. But even when you haven't got that, it kind of feels like you're missing your target a lot of the time. I'm going to get the boost there. There we go. This guy will be gone quickly with that, because it is a very powerful weapon at least. And here's the second boss. Again, we should be dispatch this pretty quickly with this weapon. There, that was a smart bomb. That was it. Just a tiny little flash of white on the screen was your smart bomb. Extremely underwhelming, that is. So yeah, it's not the greatest of ports. I mean, it's playable. It's it's playable. It's fine. It's got a nice little intro graphic there, like I've said before. The HUD, I'm not a fan of that either. Go 1943. It's almost like that's what its title is. It's over promotion there of the publishers, if you ask me. Yeah, it doesn't need to be that large either, I don't think. But it does scroll well, and that tune is kind of nice. And it's got a lot of sound effects. I'll give it the sound effects are good as well. Could need a little bit more, I'm thinking. But yeah, the blandness of the graphics are a bit... you know what? It's actually a lot more exciting on the Amstrad version, to be honest. The Amstrad version is obviously on a smaller play area and nowhere near as sort of fast and as smooth, of course. But it just feels more fun to play that version of it than the ST version, unfortunately. It's perfectly serviceable, but if I was paying full price at this back in the day, I wouldn't have been too happy. It more feels like a kind of budget title for the ST. Again, more predictable waves coming in. After a while, you could get to know these predictable waves, and you could probably, if I played it more, I could probably clock this game probably less than half an hour or something like that. It hasn't got a lot of longevity to it either. So yeah, lack of originality in a lot of places. There's lots of detail missing out the background. Yeah, it's a shame. It's a shame. That's a bigger island there. Oh, at least we've got a little bit of variance. I mean, I'm assuming in later levels, obviously there was a lot more variance of backgrounds. There's going to have to be. I mean, I can't imagine it would get any duller. And that tune does get on your nose after a while. It's on a continuous loop play, and a very short loop at that. So it's a nice tune. I've always liked the tune for 1943, but it does sort of like ad nauseum very, very quickly. That C is already doing my eyes in though. That C is... right, I've got an autofire now. Here we go. Nice big powerful weapon, this one. That's quite fun to have this autofire. But now I'm dead. That's killed me because I've just run straight into them bullets. Not the greatest of gameplays there. I apologise. Yeah, and also not the greatest of ports, unfortunately. Perfectly playable, but not the best. I feel the ST could have done a lot better. So that's 1943, the Battle of Midway on the Atari ST. Thank you for watching. Novabug, out.